and girls. I'm here to tell you about something that happened to me today. On the way home from school, I got thinking about what we talked about during math time. We talked about polygons. What are polygons? Are they shapes? What's the difference between a polygon and a shape? Well, when it comes to polygons, there's three things to remember. The first thing is that they're flat, or what we call two-dimensional. What does that mean? Well, you can draw them on paper. The second thing to remember is that they're closed. What does that mean? Well, if you drew it on paper, all the lines would touch. There would be no openings. The third thing to remember is that they're all straight lines on a polygon. There are no curves. So on my way home, I looked out of my car window and I saw a stop sign and I realized, that looks like something we talked about in class. So I thought I would share with you what we talked about in class, help you remember some things with some real life examples. The first polygon we talked about today was a triangle. Now a triangle looks like this. It has three sides. 1, 2, 3. Now the funny thing about triangles is a polygon could look like this. It could also look like this. What's the difference? This polygon has all the same length sides. They're all the same. So we call it a regular polygon. This one has all different length sides. See how this one is longer than this one? We call it an irregular polygon. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a perfectly good triangle. But we call it irregular because it doesn't have all the same length sides like this one. So here we have a triangle, 3 sides. Where might you see this outside of school? Does this happen to look like a piece of pizza to anyone? It could be. When you're eating a piece of pizza, that's a triangle, which is a polygon. It's flat. There's no open sides to it. What else looks like a triangle? Nachos, chips, Doritos, billiards pool. Yep, the rack that you use in the middle of it looks a lot like this. Or if you're playing Ouija board, looks like this. Everywhere around you, triangle. Like the one I saw today on the yield sign. They're everywhere. The next polygon has not 3 sides, but how many? 4. What polygon has 4 sides? You're right, a square. A square is a polygon. Not only is it a polygon, but it's a regular polygon. A rectangle would be an irregular polygon. What do you know that looks like this? Maybe the crackers that you eat at lunch? Maybe when you're playing checkers? How about a checkerboard? Any board game? The squares on a checkerboard? Or how about the calendar? When we do the calendar time at the beginning in the morning, do you ever look at the calendar and see all those boxes? Those are all squares, or polygons. Now we've looked at polygons that have 3 sides, and 4 sides, and now 5 sides. A pentagon. Pentagon has 5 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, have you ever heard of the Pentagon? Because that's a famous building. It's a government building in Washington, D.C., our country's capital. The Pentagon building looks like this. On your way to school, or when I left school today, I actually saw, there's a sign with 2 people walking on it. Yep, that one. It's the school crossing sign. It tells people to slow down around a school because there's a lot of people leaving it. Now, look at that Pentagon compared to this Pentagon. What's the difference? Yep, this one has all the same length sides. This one does not. This one is a regular polygon. 6-sided polygon is called a hexagon. Now you can remember this because a hexagon has an X in the middle of it. Hexagon. 6 also has an X in the middle of it. What looks like this in the world around you? Do you ever help your dad out and work with his tools? Well, if you work with tools like this, those are called nuts. Not that kind of nuts, these nuts. nuts and bolts. That is a hexagon. Also, have you ever seen honeycomb? Not that kind of honeycomb, but the honeycomb that bees use to make honey. All those little shapes up there, those are hexagons. And another one on a soccer ball. How many of you play soccer? On a soccer ball, there are two different shapes. There's these, the black ones. The black ones are pentagons. Do you remember the pentagon? 5 sides. The white ones are hexagons. 2 polygons on one ball. Aren't they everywhere? I told you, there's so many. The next shape that we're going to talk about has 7. This is called a heptagon. Where might you see this out in the real world? It's a toughie, but you know what? You can find them almost anywhere. Like this dessert. I happened to have this the other night at my grandmother's house, and look at that. 7 sides on that dessert. Heptagon. And while I was at my grandma's too, I saw that she had this pill container on her countertop. And I said, there's 7 sides to it. There's 7 days in the week, 1 for each day, and 7 sides. It's a heptagon. The next one is actually kind of easy because it's an octagon. And it's red. What does this remind you of? Yep, it's a stop sign. A stop sign is an octagon. An octagon sounds like an octopus, I know. But an octopus has 8 legs and an octagon has 8. Now besides a stop sign, where else might you see this? Maybe if you go to your backyard, you'll have an outdoor patio, kind of like this one. This one has 8 sides to it. How many sides does yours have? Or, have you ever jumped on a trampoline that looks like this one? Notice that there's 8 sides. It's also an octagon. This shape has how many sides? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 shapes. What letter does 9 start with? N. You're right. This shape is called a nonagon. Say it with me. Nonagon. That also starts with an N. That's how it can help you remember it. Nonagon starts with 9. Have you ever seen anything that looks like this? Maybe not. But you know what I found? This drinking glass. Look at that. 9 sides. Or maybe this one that has 10 sides to it. This 10-sided polygon is called a decagon. Decagon. 10 sides. Like I said, they get harder to find when you're out in the real world, when they have more sides to them. But take a minute. Look around you right now. Do you see any polygons? So this is my challenge to you. On your way to school tomorrow, or your friend's house, or the mall, wherever you go, I want you to stop and look a minute. Do you see a polygon around you? Probably, because really, they're everywhere. So join me next time, and we'll take a look at some more polygons. There's so many possibilities to them. And we'll take a look at something like this one. It looks a lot like a circle, doesn't it? But this one has 12 sides to it. Want to know what that one's called? Well, you'll have to wait and see. See you tomorrow.